Hi guys, welcome to Beyond Tracks, and I'm so excited about today. We have an amazing guest, one of my favorite people we're probably going to have on the show so far. His name is Uncle Ade, and most of you might know him. And the topic today is strategic mentorship in the creative economy. There's so many things we can dive into, so come along with us. Please like, share, and subscribe. Today on Beyond Tracks, we'll be discussing strategic mentorship in the creative economy. I know you have questions, as we do as well. Today, our special guest is Uncle Ade. If you don't know who Uncle Ade is, let me tell you. Uncle Ade, to some, he's known as the Voice Coach UK, a music business educator and university lecturer. University of West London, Confetti, SAE, and ICMP are some of the universities he lectures at. With over 25 years in the industry, he's a Grammy Award-winning vocal and performance coach, and he's been honored with BET, MOBO, UMA, and GEMA awards. He founded the Blueprint Music and Business Institute, which is home to transformative programs such as the Complete Singers Program, 12-step video tutorial program, and so much more. So help me welcome Uncle Ade on Beyond Tracks. Hi, Uncle Ade.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very fine.
Well done. Well done, ma.
Thank you, sir. I'm so excited about this. Thank you so much for being here with us. First of all, how's your day going?
Brilliant. I'm really enjoying the day off actually to come out into the country
so good.
And all the trees and all that kind of stuff. London is always so in your face. So it's nice to be out of the city for a little while still.
Amazing.
And great to be alongside you, fellow. Now, come on now.
I'm so excited. Oh my gosh.
You're coming up now. I'm now be looking for a job from you soon.
I thought, amen. If you don't know, I was actually one of Uncle Ade's students, and it was such a privilege to be under him. He was such a helper. And today, I know like many people who are in the industry as artists, as, music industry workers, and some of you that have questions about what it's like having mentorship or having been mentored in the industry. So we'll dive straight into it, Uncle Ade. We'll be exploring two key questions today. The first one is, how does executive mentorship truly impact the trajectory of emerging artists and creators in the music industry? And what we really want to know is, what are the things that we can start to see as people who listen to music, who enjoy music, who create music, that mentors like you are actually doing to help us, to build us, to grow us, to challenge us as well. And secondly, how are industry leaders like yourself and label designing effective mentorship pipelines for long-term development in the industry as well. So one of my first questions would be, from your experience at the Blueprint Music and Business Institute, what business blind spots do you notice most in emerging artists, and how do you help them overcome them?
Okay, so first of all, I want to respond to the general question first about mentorship. I think mentorship can be an exceptional opportunity for the development of practitioners in the industry. But it has to be done with the right kind of intentions in mind. And often when we're talking about particularly corporate mentorship, we're talking about people going into internships in record companies and all that kind of stuff. And I would just like to point out that that isn't necessarily the best way to go, because major record companies only have a 1% to 5% success rate. Right. So generally, you will see a success rate of 3 to 5% for, in terms of being able to recoup. So they only recoup in 3 to 5% of their projects. Ridiculously small. And they only really make exceptional profit on 1% of their projects. And that 1% is essential to fund all of their failures. And if I was going into a bank with a business plan and I said, I'm going to fail 95 times out of 100, I'm not getting any money. So when we talk about mentorship, we should understand that the idea of mentorship in the industry isn't necessarily the best way for somebody to be a leader in the industry in the coming years.
Okay. That's actually such a great interlude into our next question, because we want to know how you've seen the industry evolve with or without mentorship. And I guess, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you would pinpoint out that you've helped mentees at the Blueprint Music and Business Institute to avoid, or to take on, to learn from, or to adapt to, in that sense?
Well, so again, mistakes is a really important ideology, because if you don't make mistakes, you don't learn, you don't improve.
Absolutely.
So it's important to make mistakes. The problem is, or the issue is, in terms of both business practice development and artistic development, you're making the mistakes generally in the public eye.
Yeah.
And let's say the reward for making mistakes is being dropped. And the people who are responsible for making mistakes, which are the record companies, they keep going on.
Yeah.
So I think, again, we need to look at the context for it and understand that context is really important for us to use as a metric for where do we get our training and development from. Okay. So I think that's important. And then I would go on to say that the best place to get that from is from music business training programs. And I'm not saying necessarily university, but universities and the type of training programs that are being disruptive and innovative in the way in which they deliver their programming. Okay. I go on to say that what we do at the Blueprint Music and Business Institute is focus on a training that is not so heavy reliant upon academic progress, but more designed to focus on professional practice development and experiential learning. I think that's crucial, because experiential learning is giving you the opportunity to practice and make mistakes over and over again until you get it right in a real world kind of scenario, with professional mentors looking at your work and going, okay, but if you'd have done this instead of doing that, that would have made it, you would have been more successful with your strategy. So I think that's really important to consider.
So taken from that, especially with the Blueprint, would you say artists, who do you find are more open to actually receiving this mentorship and, trainings? Because I know of a few industries like the Blueprint, but I don't know if enough people know about them. And I don't know the statistics of more artists are actually willing to go into these, or industry people, or do you find that industry individuals just go straight into the work and learn on experience instead of adapting to the Blueprint and others like it?
So I always say this: if you want the best that the world has to offer the world your best. That's and that good. Means you having an insight into what is the best way for me to be exceptional. Yeah. If you're not exceptional, you don't count in this industry. Which means that you have to go outside of your comfort zone more often than not. The normal music industry infrastructure, or the education infrastructure is in boxes. You're rewarded for being able to deliver great essays and assignments that are based on a set of ideologies that everybody's working with. Like, we are all working from the same playbook. That's really your own interpretation of it is crucial to you being able to stand out at the end of the day. Once you deliver it to the world, you being exceptional is essential. If you can't stand out by being outstanding, then you're not going to be exceptional. You're not going to be successful.
Okay. That's really good. Thank you. Okay. So my next question kind of delves into you being a vocal coach. Beyond vocal technique and how crucial networking can be, would you say or what would be crucial in networking in terms of artist development and programs, aside from just, training your voice, doing the needful, watching the videos? What other aspects of that relates to vocal culture and artist development?
So again, context is really important here. One, I would say that major record companies are no longer in the business of artist development.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that, which means that artist development is being done outside of the music industry ecosystem, which means that you have to be of the right kind of mindset now to be able to succeed in the industry generally, which means that in order for you to develop as an artist, you have to seek a different type of, let's say, collaborator. Or like say, i.e. when you talk about mentors, consultants, managers, etc., the management companies, consultants are much more responsible for your development in the early stages of your career now. So you have to be aware of that, which means that you have to be much more aware of your environment, if that makes sense. So where are the places that the managers are congregating? Where are the places that you can find them? Actually, we know now most of what you will do will be online.
Online, yes.
We know that, right? So where are the platforms where managers congregate? One of the things that we've done, we've spoken about the blueprint a lot, but nothing about Groove Up. And Groove Up platform is designed to give all practitioners the opportunity to engage with the next generation of thought changers in the music industry. So you'll find directors, you'll find music managers, you'll find marketing people, etc., etc. So platforms like Groove Up are the new network, if you like. The other thing I would add to that in terms of the education infrastructure is, and I say this all the time to students, is that what's happening with those who go to universities, you'll spend 3 years in the university, cocooned in this like kind of space where everybody is engaging with each other every day. And then you're in the halls of residence. And you're learning at the same pace as everybody else, but you're learning about academia. Whereas your friend who didn't go to university is networking at the nightclubs, he's networking in all of the different open mic nights and all that kind of stuff. So when you come out of university, they're 2 or 3 years in front of you because they've built their relationships where you've just spent your time in that one institution. So the networking thing for somebody who's not in university requires them to network globally now, whereas those who are in university requires them to step outside of their comfort zone. Otherwise, you're toast.
Yeah. That's so good, because I think in relation to the topic being strategic mentorship in the creative economy, I wanted to even go back on something you mentioned that I've seen a lot of in the industry now, which is where labels aren't doing the work or institutes aren't actually providing the resources to mentor and bring up. They're expecting somewhat finished products, which can be such a struggle. And I guess with spaces like Groove Up, and even the Blueprint, and so much more that I'm sure we don't even know about, that you pally on with, and even as a music business lecturer, as well as an artist manager in the past and stuff, you've seen a lot more people desire these spaces, get the benefits they need to get from it in comparison to the labels, in comparison to even some artist managers. Because most of the time, I know with A&R work, they expect you just go into the clubs, you find the artist that's good, make sure they're trending on TikTok, and attach whatever greatness you can to them. Segue into what you've just mentioned. And I think one of the questions I know would be great for people that are watching to also understand is, how do you work with artists at the Blueprint Music and Business Institute to build a sustainable career plan? Because I think for most of them, or for most of us, even though these courses are good, you don't want to feel like it's a waste of time, or you want to do what we're saying we should encourage. You're getting the mentorship, you're getting the leadership, because I think even you emphasizing on the duration, having done a music business course myself, I know I would have benefited more from not the slowness of it, but like the step by step, which is what you're saying, and the visual aspect of having lecturers like you, mentors like you, look through my work, look through me and my company's work and the artist I'm working with. How can we make this long term? Not just you've done a course, you're done, you get a certificate, go into the world and now do your stuff. But how do you build for an artist, for example? I'm not an artist, but I do sing a little bit, okay? I can do a little bit of something. I do rap as well. So, but for an artist, for example, in a long term, how would I be encouraged within the institute to build a sustainable career afterwards?
So for us, I have to talk about the institute from the perspective of this program, because it's set up purely to deliver the program, if that makes sense. So that's why the Voice Coach UK and all those other things are elements in there. So it's set up with the intention of giving people the tools to build sustainable careers. And giving them opportunity to network. So if you think about it from this point of view, let's say you have a great singer-songwriter that you discover from Nigeria, and they're on a program. Excuse me. And they get put together on a program with a team of practitioners from Nigeria, Kenya, Rwanda, etc., etc. And on the program, they put together a brilliant marketing plan that gets evaluated by the games masters, and then they get mentorship from the coaches, if that makes sense. So they're getting their coaching and mentorship, but they're also building relationships with the artists that are real life, if that makes sense. But you're getting coached on them here, but you're getting told, well, no, that's wrong. You got to do it like this. You need to go quicker, sort of thing. So you're really sharpening their tools, right? Really good. So when you come out, you're now ready to practice in a way that you wouldn't otherwise be. Does that make sense? So then the artist now has a relationship with a team who've understood their project in a way that no one else has at this point. That's good. So now you can collaborate. And actually, when we did this in Germany, there was one particular artist by the name, name's on the tip of my tongue, it'll come in a moment. But Peter Putz was the manager in the program and ended up managing her, and is still her manager now, that's like amazing. 10 years later. Do you know what I mean? And she's gone on. I've been watching TV programs and seen her soundtrack, like her name on the soundtrack.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So that kind of program is really important. But also remember, even if you don't make the residential, you are in a pool of, to start with, it could be 500 practitioners who are doing this program, collaborating together and all that kind of stuff, right? And you're in a community, which is a Discord community, where you can now say, as an artist, I'm looking for a producer for a project. And it's all being funneled through this network that you build that is an international network. So you've got great opportunity to develop. Now, to come back to the idea of what the mentorship is, the mentorship part, or my team's responsibility, we're about cultivating talent, real talent, students or practitioners with the right mindset. So we're constantly observing people and making sure that they're being directed in the right way. What are the things that you've got missing? Let's talk about those. Does that make sense? Yeah. How can I help you to facilitate you improving on those things? Does that make sense? Yeah. So we're constantly looking at it, which is why the holistic component of it is really important. Make sense? Makes sense. Actually, funny enough, I have to give credit where credit is due. The holistic thing is something that I picked up at SAE, having taught there for the last 2 years. And it's a brilliant way of giving people who would otherwise fall through the cracks an opportunity to stay in the game. Good. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the holistic part is really important. But for us, that observation of you've got really good mindset. You've got you've got something, but you're struggling with the academic.
Right.
So let's help you in that regard.
Mm.
Rather than, right, we've got an essay, it's 1,500 words, and because you can't produce 1,500 words because you don't have those chops, you fall through the cracks.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that we are dedicated to, committed to on the program, is making sure that the mentorship facilitates people's gaps in their skill set and bridging those gaps.
That is fantastic, because the next question I had was understanding what initiatives artists need to bring. Because I think with the way you've just said it, for me, as an industry person now and as someone who's done a music business course, and we were doing the blueprint, I better do it. This is my segue into doing it, by the way, guys. But how could I guess, position myself aside from the needful? I mean, even anyone, industry artists, whatever you are, that even already think about these things or wanting to do these things, I think is brilliant enough, because it means you're going beyond what you people would usually do and beyond the tracks, guys. Like, you're seeing beyond what others are seeing. You're wanting something more. But I do believe there has to be something else the coaches, the game masters will see in specific artists, maybe, especially for artists in this time, like artists that really want to grow. Like, we know the trajectory of what social media is doing. We know the percentage at which, labels focus right now is subpar, so bad. But what other initiative would the Blueprint Music and Business Institute look out for in an artist, for example, that makes them distinctive or puts them, like, the guy you mentioned from Germany, that's like, oh yeah, this is your trajectory. We're going to see you do all this. And it's not just hand holding, because I think sometimes it does look like that, but I guess, what else can I, as an industry person or an artist specifically, bring to the table that's like, yeah, this is something we want you to see, keep building, keep doing, and stuff like that. Yeah.
By the way, the artist's name was Wallace, by the way.
Wallace, okay.
Wallis.
Okay, okay.
So in regards to the question, I would say this. There's no room in the industry for entitlement. That's the first thing. Too many artists are entitled, unfortunately.
Good.
And so what we're looking for is mindset. The right kind of mindset is essential. And I think the other thing that we're doing is trying to cultivate mindset. So there's one thing for us to go, right, you must have the right mindset, blah, blah, blah. But you may have the right tools, but not the mindset. So we have to give you the mindset. So it's a give and take in that regard, sort of thing. So we need to make sure that everybody comes out with a fighting chance. Like, the biggest frustration for me is when somebody just feels like it should be given to them on the plate. You've got all the talent in the world and you just feel like it should be given to you on the plate. Listen, get me. I'm tapped out.
Yeah, I hear it.
Literally. So it's important for us to do that, to make sure that you're given every chance to succeed. And so in order for us to be able to do that, that's why, again, the holistic approach is really important, because it deals with some other elements that are not in the academic framework typically. And also it requires, and I think this is really key, it requires music industry experience to spot that. Does that make sense? Yeah. If I can't spot it, I can't. If I can't spot the gaps, I can't cultivate you in a way that you will be able to fill those gaps. And I also have to have the material to fill those gaps. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I have to continue, and I know you're going to ask the question, but I have to continue to upskill in order to be relevant next year, the year after, the year after, and the year after. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's important from that point of view. Otherwise, I'm giving you old data. And the music industry has moved, like technology is moving so quickly, fast.
So quickly.
That if I don't stay ahead of the curve, I'm just old school. Like, you know what I mean? You're finished in the game if you don't keep up with it. So that's important. So, and that's one of the key things that frustrates me about academia.
Okay.
Is there has been zero change in the academic framework since I first came into education. And I've been in it for at least 25 years. It hasn't changed.
That is so scary.
It's really scary. And the other thing is, of course, the world around them has changed so much.
Yeah.
And it's changing at a phenomenal rate at the moment with AI. They're only now starting to put together policy for AI, which next month will be out of date. It's going to be out of date. So it's like you don't have enough practitioners in education who are still in the field, who are still in the game, who are still every day trying to eat from what they kill themselves.
Right.
And if you're not doing that in the classroom, you're toast. The information that you're providing to the next generation of thought changers, etc., you're not equipping them properly. And that's a massive problem with education. That's just not music education.
In
That's
general,
across the
yeah.
board.
Yeah. So would you, this just ties in, and my question would be, how do you know you're doing that? How do you know do you seek feedback? Is there a metric you use? Because I know for me, I rely so much on reviews. I'm such a review person. And even when I left University of West London, I reviewed it on Google. I reviewed it in places that I needed to review it on. And whenever I get sent like surveys like, oh, how was this? How was this lecture? I'm always quick to do it because I genuinely always feel like people want to see visually. They want to be able to recognize, oh, I can credit this to something, or this worked for someone, it could work for me and all that kind of stuff. So I would want to understand, especially because you've already even mentioned, which is something I know you actually do, having been under your lectures, you usually seek out, how did you find that? Did you get it? Like, did it actually stick? And you're not trying to hear, oh yeah, it was great. No, you want the serious answers, like the honest truth. Is there a way you seek out feedback or surveys to kind of make sure it's working? Aside from what we're seeing with the artists and the managers and stuff, it's great, but that could be one in a dime in a dozen, in comparison to, is there feedback? Is there a metric that people can rely on So
university feedback mechanism is as toxic as it can possibly be. Right? It's as toxic as it could possibly be because the intentions behind it are wrong. The whole objective is to, if we can please people as much as possible, we end up higher up the league table. Therefore, more people will come to our institution. Yeah. It's wrong. It's the wrong way to do it. Right. And recently I had a student survey come back on one of my modules. It was frightening to read. It was frightening to read. And I would say also that music education period is a thankless job. Nobody appreciates it.
Very true.
Until you get to the point where students like yourself, years after they graduated, reach out to me. I had someone 2 days ago ask me to take part in a project and offer me equity in it. That is the proof that what I do is right. I no longer concern myself with student surveys in that regard. But obviously in the classroom, my results are based on your results. If you succeed, then I've succeeded. Yeah. Even if you didn't like the way that I taught, if I gave you too much information, if you come out with anything above a 2-1, we've succeeded.
Yeah.
That's
very true.
And as I said, I had it was frightening. Because again, I'm bringing AI into the table. I'm bringing technology onto the table. I'm bringing other industries onto the table, and I'm bringing all the truth about streaming, Spotify, all of that. I'm bringing all that onto the table. I'm a truth teller in the lecture.
That's good.
Right?
Yeah.
Which means that people may go, well, what am I doing here? Right. If you don't have the muscles for it, you better get out now, kind of thing. That's
right.
Me. And so I use blockchain, power tools and all that kind of stuff and AI in my lectures. Yeah. Right. And there were some people in my class who were, let's say, preservationists and were talking about the environment, all that kind of stuff, and hated the idea that I would produce worksheets using AI.
Right.
Hated it.
Right.
And one of the feedback notes was not fit to lecture in university, right? Like literally, I'm God, right? Funny enough, though, we just did the end of year presentations for the same group of students, right? Wow. Same group of students had to do 90-minute presentations, 90. That's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right? A presentation showcasing their music and their marketing, all that kind of stuff. First of all, nobody got below a 62.
Wow.
Secondly, at least 3 of the students said what they got from the course was the marketing and branding. That's what I did. Do you understand? So even though the metrics say this guy should never be teaching, the proof is in the pudding. If I get if my average grade is 69.
That's a pass now, isn't it?
What, 61?
Yeah, over 60 is a pass.
2-1.
Oh my goodness.
That's a 2-1. So if I get an average of 68, I'm taking that all day as a lecturer. So the feedback mechanisms don't necessarily work out. And of course, the other one is, of course, how many people know me that I've never met.
That's good.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like, if you know me, it's because of the good work that I've done.
You've done, yeah.
Right?
That's very true.
And so I have to take that.
Yeah.
So honestly, you could, in the music industry as a lecturer, much like a music business practitioner and particularly a musician, it's easy to have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
And you have to know yourself well enough to go, actually, that feedback isn't consistent with what my intention is. Do you understand? My intention, what my core values are. So I can't take that on board.
Does this also, I guess, tally into the blueprint as well? Like in terms of feedback? Because as an artist...
but I mean, absolutely. Okay. Again, what you're seeing in terms of the transformation from the time they enter the program to the time they exit is your work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So their success is an indication of how successful you've been. Yeah. That's really good. So that's a really important part of the metric. Of course, we want to refine all the time the processes by which we achieve that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're constantly going to we have exit feedback sheets and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And of course, you're observing as you're running the programs what works and what doesn't work. But I also have to say, this doesn't just all come off the top of my own head. Yeah. I'm looking at, again, I'm working in over the last 3 years, I've worked in 6 institutes. I have picked up so many different practices from different places. It's like, when God is at work. Like when God's at work, because when I first started lecturing, I was lecturing just at Westminster University, and I was there from like 2015 or something like that, right? Right through to the pandemic. And I got so disillusioned with it that I'm out, kind of thing. I'm not doing this anymore. Then during the pandemic, one of my former students became the course leader at University of West London. Okay. So he calls me in the pandemic and says, Ade, I need you down here.
Wow.
Which is that evidence that you've made an impact.
That's
so good. I was like, no, I don't have that kind of thing. But it was pandemic. And I was like, you know what, all right. From that point on, every single interview I went for, I got offered the job within 4 hours of leaving the interview.
Wow.
In one case, which is more recent, in the interview, like, so what days are you free? That kind of stuff, amazing. Right? So it's indicative of the fact that you're having the impact.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really important metric as well.
That's so good. Okay, so going from what you've just said, I guess we can even emphasize together the challenges you must face in delivering comprehensive artist development and coaching sessions, mentorship sessions, as well as even what the blueprint offers and Groove Up, to be honest. But what would you say you're doing to overcome them? Because these are not going to stop, to be honest. I think the more you integrate people, the more you integrate the culture, the more you integrate any and everyone into these systems, you're gonna face really difficult challenges, like what you mentioned about a feedback. Like that would have rocked me so much, ruined my whole day. Ruined my whole day. I'll actually start thinking, but I guess like you said, the results speak for themselves. As well as the results speaking for themselves though, what challenges and what are you doing to overcome the challenges you're facing?
So again, you have to be it and it is what it is kind of mindset. It is what it is.
I'm trying. It's hard.
And understand the environment that you're working in. So the education institution is designed for a specific set of purposes, right? It rewards academic success, academic progress, and it rewards it over professional practices, etc., etc. And so I work in that environment, and of course, the objective is to impact as many aspiring practitioners or future talent as possible, which means that it's essential for me to be in that environment. Yeah.
Okay.
At the same time, me being able to do something different with the blueprint, bearing in mind it's focused on Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, etc., etc. It means that I can effect a different kind of education culture in my own country, in my own continent. So it means we are very anti-student debt, very, very anti-student debt. We're very anti the academic.
That's really helpful.
Mindset, not the mindset, but the overbearing focus on academic success. We're very anti that. And of course, we are going to use technology to be able to deliver in a way that you currently can't in most institutions. That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
So for us to be able to deliver a training program in 6 or 7 countries in Nigeria simultaneously.
Wow.
Excuse me. The only way we can do that is using technology. But we also know that for the most part, the infrastructure isn't necessarily there, right? So we have to address that by knowing ahead so that we deliver those classes from the UK, perhaps, and we cast it to centres where the students come to the centres, where they will have the infrastructure, where the lights aren't going to go out, where the internet is high-speed broadband, so they won't have those challenges. So that actually when we start looking at all of the potential problems and resolve those before we actually face them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Following that, it's then about the after program continuity, because even the 8-month pre-program is one thing. You get a wide catchment. Yeah. Then you have this league table that facilitates or rewards the top 15%, let's say. Okay. Right? But nonetheless, once you've gone through that program, what am I doing after that? Yeah. So that's where Groove Up kind of comes in, right? Because Groove Up will partner with them and they will be able to release their music through the platform. But so will everybody else who didn't manage to do the residential. So our thing is, it's the training and development entry into the funnel. And it's also the business and commercialization long term. Does that make sense? Which means it also provides you with access to finance and funding, relationships with your fans, building relationships with your fans through the portal, and where fans can actually generate revenue alongside you. So you can invest in an artist project and win together. That's why we have our philosophy is everybody wins. Everybody
wins. You hear that, guys? Everybody wins. That's amazing. So what are 2 success stories? I mean, you've mentioned the guy in Germany that's been working with the singer artist Wallace for over 15 years, I think.
Yeah, Wallace Bird.
Yeah. What are the success stories do you currently have, especially from the Blueprint Music and Business Institute, as well as a lecturer? I mean, sorry, you saying that your student was able to even start working in a university in the music business course, and then remembering you and calling you up is a fantastic show of evidence. Because I mean, most of the time when you're done with something, you're done, peace out, all the best, good luck. But knowing that there's other opportunities for whether they were successful, whether they weren't, like Groove Up, building that space for them to go into these things and not just go into the world and do their stuff. But what would you say as well are the successes you've measured currently that you've seen?
So first of all, I would say in terms of the follow-on, first of all, I'd say that for me, it's important that I'm able to pour in to my students. Okay. And I don't pour in like to everybody. You have to show something, if that makes sense. No one's excluded. Because if everybody has something, I'll pour into everybody kind of thing. But I'm not overbearing, if that makes sense. Good, yeah. Yeah, so it's really, here's where I'm at. There's opportunities where I am. My network is your network kind of thing. And I'll sometimes place students with internships. So very often there's one of my former students is a gentleman by the name of George James. He runs a company called Beehawks. It's one of the top digital agencies in the country, probably the world. And he always comes and does guest lectures for me every year. And he always takes at least one intern.
That's so good.
Every year. And actually 3 in the last 4 years from University of West London. Wow. So that kind of stuff is really important. Yeah. To know that that's available to me, to my students through me is super important. So that's the first thing I'd say. Then when we talk about the successes, I'd quote George James, right? He actually also went on one of those residentials years ago. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Then there's Ike, obviously, who was the director of the Orchard for Nigeria.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. Then you've got Chris Dampier, who is the senior vice president for publishing at TuneCore. And a whole bunch of others who are corporately successful.
These are big names as well.
Then, of course, on the other side, artist-wise, you've had the likes of Isaiah Dyer from Raymond & Co., Kelly LaRock, Lisa Mafia, Shay, and then there's a whole bunch of new emerging artists that will come through over the next 3 or 4 years. You've got Yvelle, Laolu Adewumi, Jessica Kyoja. These are people who have come through my first iteration of the program in Nigeria, on the first program. Some of them who have gone on to work with Booking HQ, who is, as you know,
very prominent.
Yeah. So Booking will come to me and say, "I'm glad. Do you have any people that you would?" And so I've recommended people to book. In fact, 2 people I've worked through to Booking HQ. So that it's really important to understand that we're in the same world, like we're all in the same ecosystem, and my success is your success, your success is your success, and so on and so forth. So we trade on that more than anything. You trade on reputation, and your reputation is built on, oh yeah, I've done this with that person, and so on and so forth. I never, ever used to mention the Grammy. Never mentioned it. And it was only because Nathan, shout out to Nathan, who was the person who produced the track for Rihanna, who said to me, you need to put that in your CV, Grammy Award-winning manager. I'm like, no, don't do this. Because like, don't trust me. You need to stop being so modest. And talk with your big chest. And so like, it completely changed the way people perceive me.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really important. But if you haven't done the work, it can't happen.
Yeah.
So pouring in is that important. But those are some very successful stories. And actually, funny enough, Ike, who African Music Summit, and I'm trying to think his other company name now. Strictly Entertainments.
Mhm.
So those two companies. Ike was a former student of mine.
That's
I taught
fantastic.
Ike vocal training when he was 14 years old, when he first came to London from Nigeria.
Oh my goodness.
And then years later, I taught him on a course that we call the Business of Black Music at City University. And then years later, I taught him at Westminster University. And here we are now, business partners. So it's like it goes around it goes around. What you give, you get back. And I say this as well. Look, I'm 61 this year. You can't be in this industry this long. I don't get engaged in the British music industry, by the way. You cannot be in the industry this long unless you have done good work in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I say this to my students all the time. By now, you should have retired me from this industry. I should be irrelevant by now. But I'm going to keep outworking you, so you better get your
step it up, guys. I need to step it up as well. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is fantastic. You've literally mentioned how mentorship has directly contributed to these breakthroughs. Like, it's really breakthroughs, because as big as the industry can be, I think sometimes it feels limiting to even make a difference. But these are guys that are doing fantastic work thanks to what you're doing as well. And you're right. Thank God as well, to be honest. Thank you, Jesus. But it's so encouraging for someone like me, and for people that are watching, I'm sure, because there's a desire for more that we know exists. It's just making these sort of spaces available for them to get what they need from it. And it doesn't always have to turn out, like, you don't have to be part of these big names. I'm sure there are multiple. I'm sure there are thousands even that Uncle Ade hasn't mentioned that are out there, and you can be part of those people as well. So we are so grateful to have you on. I have a cheeky thing to ask. If you have any questions for us, if there's anything you want to start seeing from us, if there's anything you want our viewers to know, I'm done with my questions. I mean, I have more off the camera because I want to take, you know what I'm saying? I have plenty to take, but I'd love to know if there's anything you have for us that maybe we can look into, we can encourage people to do, people to start, industry workers, music industry artists, anyone at all that's watching this right now. There's anything else you'd want us to make them aware of?
So I think the long answer to that is, I think it's super important to know what your target audience wants through their feedback or through their comments. So one, I would ask, please put your comments in, because that's how we learn.
Yeah.
That's how we evolve. And that goes for artists who are putting their music out. Nobody cares about likes. They're not important. But when you see the comments, those are people who've taken time out to feedback, engage with them, lean into the comments, sort of thing. So comments are really important. They're really important for me, and also for you guys with your podcast. And then I would say, for you guys, are you prioritizing the UK, or are you prioritizing Africa, the continent, with the podcast?
That's a great question. I think we definitely want to do both. I think we're not limiting ourselves, because we've seen how much you can lose out on somewhat opportunities just by fixing yourself on something. So I think something we really want to encourage and do a lot is not just merge both, but stand out in both spaces. And that's going to be in so many different ways by some of the guests we're going to have. In some of the spaces, you might even see some of our hosts. This is powered by 69 Entertainment. So it's not just the podcast. It's not just what we're discussing. There's so much more. And we are encouraging, even if you're popping into the UK for 2 days and you're in here, please come and talk. We want to talk with you. We have so much that we want to ask and we want to know. Our viewers don't just also want to learn from you. They want to follow you as well. They want to be part of your walk and like you said, you want people to retire you so that you see the next generation. Some of these people are watching will be the next generation. And we don't want to limit on where they will be. So whether it be UK, US, America, wherever you are in the world, honestly, we're encouraging more people to just be part of it. That I would say that's the main thing for us.
Okay.
So yeah.
I always say this at every podcast because I think it's really important for people to know this. Music is one of the most important and most powerful forces that anybody can be blessed with. And it's our responsibility to make sure that we take care of it, nurture it, and protect it with all of the drive, all of the hunger, and all of the commitment that we put into the creative process. Because what we do too often is give it away to people who don't really care about the music or the art. They care about the finances, and they don't care about the purpose. So we have to be aware of who we're putting into the hands of. But we can only make a difference if we develop ourselves and train ourselves to look after ourselves. So we have a massive responsibility to do that. Otherwise, I'll be gone and someone else will be telling exactly the same story that I did in 20, 30 years' time.
Yeah, this has been so amazing. We're so thankful for all our viewers. If you guys have any questions at all for Uncle Ade, we're going to put his at. Feel free to message him. He's ever so sweet, so lovely. And like you've heard, he's very blunt. He'll tell you the truth. Okay, be ready to hear the truth. Like, honestly, we need more truth speakers in this generation, honestly. And I'm so grateful. This is Beyond Tracks. And today we have been discussing how strategic mentorship has an effect on the creative economy. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share.